Last week, I got together with Wil West, David Ubben, and the newest member of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame, John Wilkerson, and we talked about Tennessee's talent level. The discussion turned to Joey Aguilar.
Joey Aguilar's played a lot of football. Hendon Hooker, when he came to Tennessee, he played a lot of football. Lost the job in camp. All right, I'm just going to keep working, and then things broke his way, and he did pretty well. It's interesting that the lesser talented guys that are more experienced have had more success in this offense.
Dylan Gabriel was better than both of those guys, right? Yeah. When you saw him at UCF. Like, I think Joey Aguilar, whether he's what they want, is what they need at Tennessee to run this system.
It's complicated because I don't think he's a better quarterback than Nico Iamaleava, but I think he's going to have a better year than Nico did last year.
Yeah.
Maybe a better fit for this system.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Jimmy, I mean, Dave Clawson's offense, it's going to be fantastic. And wait till you see Jonathan Crompton. He's going to be so much better than Eric Ainge. And
number 2 quarterback in the country.
Oh, and Jarrett Garantano, number 2 quarterback in the country. Joe Milton, Nico. Is history repeating? Are we talking ourselves into something sight unseen? And Lucy's going to pull the football away again?
Have you seen Joe Milton throw an orange?
That you're right. He was spectacular.
Okay.
Now with the Dallas Cowboys, how can I question him? Are we talking ourselves? That's what fans and media do. You know, it's summer. You're talking yourselves into stuff. It's like, well, it's good. It could do this. We've done it before, and it's a long list of things that everybody was saying, and then it all blew up in their face, and they got mad at the media for not telling you. You didn't say they would suck. Are we doing this again with Joey Aguilar, talking ourselves into something or no?
If you're saying you think he's better than Nico, then the answer is yes. I've talked. People have asked me a number of times, okay, to analyze this, and I've talked to people that have seen Joey Aguilar, and here was my take on it. If on a 1 to 10 scale you thought Nico was an 8, then Aguilar needs to be a 7, and you can get away with that. Do I think he's going to be better than Nico? No, I don't. UCLA certainly didn't think that he was going to be better than Nico. So. He can be functional. He's Schuler and some others have told me if it's 3rd and 5, he can run and get you 6. He's really good in the pocket. He keeps his eyes down the field. Those too many interceptions. I don't expect him to be better than Nico, but he can be functional in this offense. So that's where I am with him. And by the way, he still has to earn the starting job.
You're just too negative. Now. What about you? You guys think we're talking ourselves into something on the Joey Aguilar thing? You both have lived through it and seen it time and again. It goes back there's a long history of, it's going to be so much better when you see this guy. No, maybe not. Are we just talking ourselves into this for the sake of doing it?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what this time of year is for. That's part of the beauty of college football. If you were at 8-4 in April and May, well, then by mid-July to August, you're going to be 9-3. If you were 9-3, you're going to be 10-2. That's the way it works in the sport. That's not just Tennessee. That's South Carolina. They're going to be in the playoff, according to South Carolina fans, by mid-August. So I also know this: if what happened never happened, and Nico just stays at Tennessee and he's the starting quarterback, we'd also be having the conversation about, hey, entering his 3rd season in the system and his 2nd year as a starter, he's going to make a jump.
You were already hearing it before he left.
Yeah. There was excitement about his leadership qualities expanding. Yeah. And then he leaves and he's all about himself and he didn't have any leadership
And he was
qualities.
terrible.
Yeah, so are people probably getting a little too optimistic about what a guy that just arrived a couple of months ago is going to be able to do? I'm sure that that's the case, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you don't then overreact the other way if the results don't come exactly as you hope.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That's the hard part.
Good luck with the
that's really
lack
hard
of overreaction. I agree, and part of the equation is the taste left in the mouth of everyone with Nico's exit. So that enhances your opinion of Joey Aguilar. So you maybe don't have the information, but you buy in even more because of how you felt about Nico leaving the program. So that adds to it. Yes, it's probably overblown. I also think doesn't mean it won't happen. I just think that it is enhanced right now, mostly on hope and because of the thought on Nico afterwards.
John, here's what's going to be interesting. There's a chance Tennessee could average more points in SEC games than they did last year. You know how many points they averaged in SEC games last year?
Go ahead.
25.
Yeah, it was not great. I mean, you rolled up your numbers against non-conference. Now, I could make the point that if we go by and look at everybody in the SEC, they scored more against their non-conference foes than they did inside the league. But still, 25 was nothing to write home about.
And it was in the lower part of the SEC. Yeah. I mean, they averaged 62 against non-conference opponents and then 25 against SEC. Could Aguilar average more than 25? He could. But again, I don't expect him to be a better quarterback. Maybe others around him play better. That would be a factor, too. In particular, the receivers that I didn't think played that well last year. But also, you're replacing Dylan Sampson. And I don't care what the EA says about Star Thomas. He is not going to be as good as Dylan Sampson.
And the things that people are excited about, I think that's for real. Like getting a guy that does have real experience, considering the spot Tennessee was in. Going and getting a Power 4 starter was unrealistic. I mean, they got one from UCLA.
See, that's another part of the problem, though, is they went after, they tampered with 15 guys.
They would have gotten one in
Everyone knows
December, but in April it was too late. So to get a guy that does have starting experience, that is older, that is mature, that does have that mobility, that as he's learning the offense and they need that running aspect from the quarterback position, those are things to get excited about. You just have to be careful about assuming what that is going to mean.
Yeah, but my point being, in terms of Aguilar's the perfect fit, even UT went after the guy from TCU, the guy from Iowa State, the guy from Illinois for a reason. So we'll see. It doesn't mean that this one can't be the one that works. But I do think there's a danger in doing what we've done so many times before. The one that was the most unbelievable was Eric Ainge had the one bad year as a sophomore. He came back and was really good as a junior and a senior. It was all SEC caliber. He threw for, it was a David Cutcliffe job. He was just throwing for yards all over the place. Great end of his career, and that last year, it was the reason we stopped doing phone calls on this show, because back then we had Pat Ryan and Bobby Scott, and Pat was tired. We would take the phone calls. We did 2 segments, and the first call was always, "Why aren't we seeing Crompton?" And I thought Pat's head was going to blow off. He's like, "You got a guy throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns a game. Why are you worried about Jonathan Crompton?" And then you get Crompton, and it's like, oh, okay. So, nothing against Crompton, but he was not Eric Ainge. So we have a tendency to convince ourselves the guy you've got is the guy you've always needed. Not always. So we'll see with Joey Aguilar.